The science behind crystal thinking. With the growth of New Age movement and modern occultists, crystals and gemstones have become a common way of treating physical and emotional problems. Crystal healers claim that crystals and gemstones can not only help with emotional issues, but with creativity, meditation, the immune system, and self-expression. Although none of these claims are backed up by any peer-reviewed scientific evidence. One thing we do know, though, is that crystals are naturally occurring arrangements of minerals forming distinctive geometrical shapes. The unexpected order and beauty of crystals and gemstones have long fascinated people, and there are many artifacts from cultures around the world that contain crystals from crowns, weapons, and wands. Over centuries, crystals have been believed to have mystical powers and healing properties by millions of people. You may be thinking why I have such an interest in crystals and gemstones and whether I believe in their healing powers or not. Personally, I previously believed that crystals had this amazing, unrecognized power that modern science could not explain, and that you had needed to try it to believe it. Every time I would hold a crystal, I would feel a strong sense of protection and a sense of power respected to that crystal. I was immediately convinced that these minerals had hidden frequencies that could possibly take the place of modern medicine. For a long time, my opinion was unhindered and emotional when I told people the power of crystals. In response, they would almost look at me and think I was crazy, but it didn't matter because I knew they were wrong and I was right. After attending the Think 101X course at the University of Queensland and reading books such as Why We Think It Isn't So by Tom Gilovich, I started to research more deeply into how much of our cognitive processes happen without awareness. I soon found that many of our intuitions we hold so dearly are often wrong. The power of cognitive errors such as confirmation bias, expectancy errors, post hoc ergo propter hoc, regression to the mean, and placebo effect, just to name a few, are unconscious mechanisms that are used to sort and categorize the complex world we live in. However, there are many disadvantages that this fast, automatic, instinctive, emotional, and stereotypical thinking creates. I fell for these cognitive biases when I was all for crystal healing, particularly confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency of people to favour or seek out information that confirms their beliefs or hypothesis. People display this bias when they gather information selectively, or even when they interpret their evidence in a biased way. When you purchase a crystal from any sort of metaphysical shop or market, it will tell you the effects of the crystal on it. For example, pink agate. This crystal has the power to balance yin and yang. It gently facilitates acceptance of oneself. Agate overcomes negativity and bitterness of the heart. A customer purchasing this crystal will immediately understand and what to selectively choose to confirm that the crystal is doing its intended job. This creates the confirmation bias for the customer, as he or she will continue to selectively gather information that confirms the crystal's healing property and disregard the rest. Another unconscious mechanism that works is called post hoc ergo propter hoc, which is Latin for after this, therefore, because of this. It is the logical fallacy that states since Y followed event X, event Y must be caused by event X. This fallacy lies in the conclusion and is based solely on the order of events, rather than taking other factors into account. For example, if you're feeling a little down one day and you buy a crystal that increases happiness and motivation, and the next day you feel on top of the world, you will probably attribute this to the crystal rather than regression towards the mean or chance, that you may have had a bad day, but things will get better. Unfortunately, not a huge amount of scientific evidence is available to test whether crystals actually have healing properties or not. Crystal healing is regarded as a pseudo-scientific alternative treatment for emotional issues, boosting creativity, immunity, and self-expression. A pseudoscience is a claim or belief that is regarded as scientific, but does not adhere to the scientific method, and lacks supporting evidence and plausibility. It cannot be reliably tested, which tends to bring its scientific reputation down. So many people tend to make their opinion on crystal healing based on personal experience or testimonials. Changing someone's opinion on a pseudoscience, such as crystal healing, can prove to be difficult as people find it hard and effortful to do so, especially when their opinion is based on a positive personal experience with crystal healing. I decided to go to a crystal healer who has personal experience with crystal healing and apply the 6 leads of opinion change to the New Age topic. So, what do you really believe about crystal healing?
It is my belief that crystals possess energies that, when placed on a person for a particular symptom, pass on those energies to the person, thereby assisting with the healing of the condition. Likewise, crystals can be placed in an environment to enhance the area where they are positioned, for example, in an office or in your living environment. There is nothing spooky about crystals. Basically, they come from the earth like many other minerals that benefit our society. They have been used for many centuries for healing purposes, as evidenced by crystals found in the tombs of the ancient Greeks. My most favourable experience with using crystals was to place a piece of hematite on each of the four corners of my bed base to assist with my sleeping. I was suffering from interrupted sleep for months and found this procedure to be more beneficial than every other method I tried for a restful sleep.
So how well based is the opinion you already hold on crystal healing?
My knowledge of crystals is based on my personal experiences, study, and scientific evidence. As well as this, Marcel Vogel, an IBM scientist, created the Vogel Healing Crystal Wand, as well as using quartz crystals and watches. The Vogel Wand is based on sacred geometry and is a powerful healing tool which I have used.
How good is the evidence for crystal healing? Have you seen any scientific evidence?
The scientific evidence around the properties of crystals, their differing vibrations, as evidenced by their colours and chemical compositions, is well known. What is not so widely evidenced is the effect of these vibrations on energies on the human auric field. The aura of humans is now scientifically measurable and able to be photographed. The crystal energies and their subtle healing effects will one day be measurable. However, the cost to do so and the support of the medical profession in undertaking studies with no tangible monetary benefit is prohibitive.
Does the current evidence on crystal healing contradict what you already believe?
The current evidence is the basis of crystal healing, but not complete. When science embraces the powerful healing benefits of crystals with an open mind, the world of medicine will never be the same.
If the current evidence were insufficient to make you change your mind on crystal healing, what would be sufficient?
I have used crystals extensively, both for personal use and in my healing work, both physically and spiritually through intent. I challenge the use specific to each client's needs and have seen amazing results. Science does not yet have the means to understand the full power of crystals, as they are still seen as beautiful minerals of the earth.
Do you think it's worth finding out about crystal healing, or is it a case of why not? What is the harm of crystal healing?
I do think it's important to understand the power of crystal healing, as it can help people understand and experience progression through emotional and behavioural problems they might have. There isn't any harm in trying crystal healing, and they don't have any negative side effects that will impair your ability.
The following 6 leads of opinion change on the psychic healer was part of my Change the World project. I wanted to apply these leads to a psychic healer so I could better understand where her opinion came from. It is obvious from the interview above that most of the crystal healing evidence comes from personal experiences and testimonials, which isn't the most reliable data, as personal experience can easily be skewed by the previously mentioned cognitive fallacies. However, it's important to also recognize that we might be able to use these cognitive heuristics to our advantage, and whether it's harmful to use crystal healing anyway. There may not be any empirical evidence proving that crystals have healing properties. However, they can be used to help very mild, emotional, and behavioural problems just from the power of our cognitive fallacies alone. There has been debate on how effective alternative treatments such as homeopathy and crystal healing has on improving emotional well-being. It is suggested that if the issue you are trying to treat is serious and/or quite debilitating, you should seek professional help, because there has been 437 people who were harmed by homeopathy since its origin. Although, if the problem is small, such as a decrease in motivation or lack of concentration, using crystals or any sort of mystical object may come in handy. Understandably, it's easy to see why people base so much opinion on personal experience and testimonials. The aim for this article was to get you, the reader, to think more critically about your beliefs. I asked that you take some time and do some empirical research before you take someone else's testimonial, or even your own personal experience for evidence. Question everything.